The present monograph is meant to bring to the notice of academic circle the historical background of esoteric Buddhism in Japan, the nature of an esoteric Buddhist deity called Fudo Myo-O, or Sanskrit Acalanatha Vidyaraja, which has been enjoying a very wide popularity in Japan for quite an extent of time. The evolution of esoteric Buddhism, or Vajrayana Buddhism, from Mahayana Buddhism in India, and the spread of Vajrayana Buddhism in Japan from China during the 8th century, and the growth and promotion of esoteric culture among the vast masses of people of Japan provide a very interesting scope of study. Not much endeavor has been made to study in detail the complex nature of Fudo Myo-O, an important esoteric deity, and the diverse artistic expressions of Fudō as preserved in sculpture and painting in Japan, showing the images and their iconographic peculiarities. The present monograph, which deals in brief about Vajrayana Buddhism, the historical background of esoteric Buddhism or Vajrayana in Japan, the iconography, nature, and characteristics of the god Fudo Myo-O, and the artistic creations of Fudō in Japan from the 9th to the 14th century, is the outcome of my research work. The purpose of the present work is to present a detailed study about the god Fudo Myo-O, and an attempt is made to highlight the rise of esoteric Buddhism in Japan, the philosophy of esoteric Buddhism, the nature, iconography, and symbolism of Fudo Myo-O, and the representations of the deity in sculpture and painting preserved in Japan and elsewhere. While selecting the subject of the present study, I was mainly attracted to the number of colorful depictions of the god Fudō and its peculiar iconography. I noticed that very limited work has so far been done on this deity, and thought that a detailed study on the subject might bring about various facets of the deity and art associated with it. The method adopted for this study of the subject has been mainly based on Buddhist literature in Sanskrit, previously scholarly works by eminent writers on the subject, published in books, journals, and a detailed study by the specimens of art found in different books. Esoteric Buddhism, called Myō in Japan, was part of a widespread movement which had been powerful in India in the 6th and 7th centuries and was transmitted to China by Buddhist monks, where it quickly established itself. Specialists of esoteric Buddhism who propagated the sect to China were Subhakarishma from Nalanda, who translated about 30 sutras and treatises at Chang'an, including the Mahavairokkana Sutra, the fundamental scripture of esoteric Buddhism. Vajrabodhi from Nalanda, who translated about 20 texts of esoteric Buddhism, and Amohavajra, who met Vajrabodhi in Java and became his disciple. The new teaching was brought to Japan in 806 by Kukai, and was known as Shingon, or True Word, or Mantrayana. The core of Shingon Buddhism is the belief in the essential identity of all things in the person of the Supreme Buddha, Mahavairokkana in Sanskrit, or Dainichi Nairai in Japan. To the Shingon believer, there is no difference between the world of senses and the world of ultimate reality, for both are manifestations of the same cosmic principle. There is no difference between the image and the deity, for in Shingon the images are merely representations of the various aspects of Dainichi. The power and the wonder of mantra lay in its realization by meditation through the mandala, and its appropriate conceptualization as ultimate meaning. The new spiritual energy found expression in gigantic paintings of the two cosmograms or mandalas of Garbhodhatu and Vajradhatu. They coordinated the esoteric traditions of the ancient Indian universities of Nalanda in the north and Kanchi in the south. Radical change was noticed in the deities themselves. Their strangeness and exoticness clearly revealed their Indian influence. Most of the images were not shown to the public, but were kept hidden in the inner sanctum of the temples. Myō images were often given an uncanny, wild aspect with multiple limbs and ferocious expressions. Such tendencies had already appeared at the end of the Nara period, 710 to 897, as in the many-armed Fuku Kensaku Kanman. But these images can be regarded as forerunners of what was to come. In addition to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, there were many new gods, among them the 5 great kings, or Godai Myō-ō, who, as manifestations of Dainichi's wrath against evil, have fierce and terrifying forms. The most important of the Myō-ō, one of the main deities of Shingon sect, is Fudo Myo-O, originally a form of the Hindu god Siva, usually appearing in the midst of the 4 other Myō-os, or radiant kings, are Daitoku, known in Tibetan Tantric pantheon as Yamataka, Gosanza, Gundari, and Kango-yasha. These Myō-o images were rather grotesque, with their projecting fangs and childlike bodies adorned with skulls and snakes. Fudo Myo-o is often represented singly, both in painting and sculptures, as a terrifying god with facial expressions full of wrath, attended by Kangara Doji and Saitaka or Sitaka Doji. As the immovable one, he stands on a symbolic rock, surrounded by flames, holding a rope and a sword with which he conquers all evils.